Tēnā koutou katoa. Tonight, a Native Affairs Housing Crisis Special, live from inside Te Puia Memorial Marae. It was here 2 months ago. New Zealand saw the stark reality for struggling families. Te Puia opened its doors to Kiwis living in crowded homes, carports, garages, sleeping in their cars and on the streets. Well, is this the housing crisis and homelessness New Zealand that we want to live in? We asked politicians and social service experts, and we have a great audience, a lively audience with us who'll be joining in the kōrero. Kia ora koutou. And a special welcome to you all. I'm Maud Kamo, and we are Native Affairs. Ready to discuss the housing crisis from National Local List MP and Te Atatu seat candidate Alfred Ngaro.
Kia ora.
Māori Party co-leader Marama Fox.
Kia ora.
Labour's housing spokesperson and Te Atatu MP Phil Twyford.
Kia ora.
And from the Green Party, Marama Davidson.
Tēnā
Kia ora
koe,
koutou.
kia ora.
Well, 1 in 100 Kiwis are homeless. That's 41,000 people, approximately the population of Gisborne. Alfred Ngaro, why is this acceptable?
Well, it isn't acceptable, and that's the reason why we're here today. And the reality is that this is something for a whole of community to take part in. I want to acknowledge Te Puia Marae because actually it's their leadership that has led us here today for us to have this kōrero, to also find some solutions, which is part of our process, and that's the reason why we're here.
But wouldn't people expect National to be the leader in this instance here?
Well, National does play a part. As the government of the day, part of its role is to provide services and support where it's most needed. And that's the reality of what we've been doing. So Te Puia have actually said that from their point of view, they've seen the need here. So rather than waiting, they've actually responded. And I want to acknowledge the work that they've done. Also, Maniriwa Marae has also responded. So we're seeing that communities are responding because they can. They're able to be able to provide a platform and a place in which our whānau and our family can come to.
Marama Fox, why should the community be shouldering the burden here?
I think what the community have shown through the focus that has come to Te Puia Marae is that this is not acceptable. They have shown this because they have donated clothing, food, money. They want somewhere to focus their support because they do not want to see a New Zealand where people grow up and sleep in cars. Now, yes, the government have a responsibility to provide services, but provide them in a way that people want them. The difference that happened here at Te Puia is that the people came and were treated with respect and were treated with dignity and were housed appropriately, quickly because of it.
Phil Twyford, why is there such a drastic shortage in homes here in New Zealand?
Ward, I think that the entire nation has been moved by the spectacle of families sleeping in cars. Not far from here, we've had kids as young as 11 sleeping out at night under bushes on the side of the road. This is a crisis that never should have been allowed to happen. And after 8 years in government, this national government has allowed the housing crisis to spin out of control, and they've left it to the community, they've left it to Te Puia Marae to pick up the pieces, and that is utterly unacceptable in New Zealand today.
Marama Davidson, you're nodding along.
Yeah, because we are standing here, literally, this is mahi rangatira that has happened in this marae. It is the legacy of Te Puia and her strength to manaaki tangata. But this is them mopping up the mess of this national government who has failed to ensure that all New Zealanders have a good, dry, warm, affordable and secure whare to live in. And so yes, this is absolutely the work that we applaud this marae for and my Manureo marae, but they shouldn't have had to step up in the first place to respond to the failure of the national government who won't even call it a housing crisis.
Whānau, what do you think? Alfred Ngaro, is this fair? Is it National's fault?
Well, let's be clear here. Michael Bassett wrote a report in 2013 that's called Priced Out. When did housing become unaffordable for New Zealanders? And that report is really clear. Since 1974, we have not been building to forecast growth population right throughout the whole of the country. There are three things that he said in the report. Number one, metropolitan urban limits. Number two, the economy. But number three that no one wants to talk about was the breakdown in whānau and family. There are a lot of social issues here. So while we talk about housing, there are other issues that are wider that I think are really important that we need to discuss, including that as well.
Madam Fox, you're in government with National at the moment. Is what Alfred's saying correct?
Listen, we need to make sure that people understand we are the tail and not the dog. We actually can't tell them what to do. So we come into government so that we can try and implement some of our own policies. And some of our own policies, the very first time I walked into government, I went into the Committee on Poverty and I said, why are you not spending any money, $0 on emergency housing? Do you not understand what is going on out there? Paula Bennett responded by spending $500,000. Then she realised that, jingos, this is a bit of a big problem and started spending $2 million. She's now spending $41 million. Why? Because we put this in front of them. That's why we sit at the table. We don't get to tell them what to do, but we do get to hold them to account and stare them in the eye. We also put a budget bid in for a small portion of money for emergency housing to help the regions, because actually in the regions, they've never had homelessness problems before, and there are not the support centres set up to help them. So a little bit of money now being spent out in the regions can help alleviate some of that.
Phil Twyford, is it emergency housing that people need, or is it homes?
Look, there's a housing crisis, and it's not good enough for Alfred to say that it's someone else's responsibility. National's been in office for 8 years now. They refuse to build homes. They refuse to crack down on speculators who are driving up the price of housing in this city. And government agencies, we saw in the news in the last couple of weeks, have been routinely referring people to live with slum landlords in garages and whole families crammed into a single room. That's not good enough.
But in fairness, Alfred points out that this has been going on since 1974, and some of this happened under Labour's watch.
Look, we've always had homelessness in the last 30 or so years to some extent, but we've seen an unprecedented surge in homelessness. The Salvation Army say that they've never seen homelessness on the scale that we've got now. One of the reasons we're seeing that is that this national government has sold off 2,500 state houses, and I'm sad to say that the Māori Party have voted for that policy
And I'll tell you
in
why,
Parliament.
but I'll tell you why.
If we had more state houses,
No, we haven't
we
lost
would
the
not
number
have
of houses.
2,500.
We'll just let Phil finish,
let
Marama.
us
Yeah, we'll let
stop.
Phil
He's
finish.
brought it up.
Phil, finish.
The national government, supported by you, has reduced the total number of state houses by 2,500.
Marama Fox.
Ready?
If we had
Marama
state
Fox.
houses, we
Okay,
wouldn't have
thank you,
homelessness.
Phil.
But
We've
here
got
is the
that.
thing. The Housing New Zealand is one of the worst slumlords in this country. I do not have a problem in a partial sell-off of state houses, not to no one, to social housing providers,
No.
to iwi, hold on,
To merchant bankers.
iwi, to
Yes.
iwi, who have asked us to support
And
them because
overseas
they
companies.
want to house their own
Those
people.
houses are being
Well,
sold
let me
to
tell you a
merchant
story.
bankers and
Well,
overseas
hold on,
companies.
hold on, this is important because let me tell you, I came up here to help a young man who was in a wheelchair because none of his local MPs, thank you, would help him get into a house. He was being evicted from Housing New Zealand. Where did he go? He went to a social housing provider who has now built him and his family a home where it is suitable for his wheelchair and for his needs. Now, I came up here to do that because their local MPs were not picking up their game enough to help them. That's a social housing provider. They are doing good things. This is not a sell-off of state houses
That's exactly
across
what
the
it
board.
is.
No,
People
it's not.
need those houses,
No,
and you're
it's
selling them
It
off.
doesn't look like there's going to be a coalition anytime soon between the Māori Party and Labour. Look, we've got to cut to a break. Sorry. He whakatā poto tā haerake nei. Our political panel will return for an audience Q&A later in the show. But when we come back, social service providers will tell us how it really is.